Hi, my name is Miss Paula. I've been driving a school bus for 26 plus years in Cuyahoga Falls, and I'm part of a team of bus drivers who are professional bus drivers and who also love children. We drive school buses for Cuyahoga Falls because we love kids and we love to keep these kids safe. We like to keep you safe as you're on the outside of the bus and on the inside when you come into the school bus to have a seat and to go to school. We're going to talk about how we wait on the bus, how we stand and wait for the bus. As you are leaving your house in the morning, we ask you to have your temperature taken. Make sure that you have a mask with you and that once you're on the bus, you wear it for the remainder of that trip. While you're waiting in line for the bus, you also have to have a mask. As you're entering the school bus, when you get to the top of the steps, there will be a sanitation station there, and we ask you to squirt some in your hand and rub it through your hands, all over your hands for about 20 seconds. Then we ask you to walk down the aisle to the back of the bus. We load now because of the pandemic. We load from the back of the bus to the front of the bus. So we ask you to walk to the farthest seat in the back and sit down, and we can load up to 2 children per seat. We ask you to remain seated. And how do you sit in a bus? You sit in a bus with your back to back, your seat to seat, your feet on the floor in front of you, facing forward. You keep all items, which is a book bag, a backpack, books, anything else you're bringing to school has to be comfortable on your lap and remain there. Okay, so you can then, once you sit down with your back to back, your seat to seat, your feet on the floor facing forward, what are some more of the rules? We tell you, you can put down a window. If you want to get fresh air, we let you put down windows if the weather is permissible. What do we do though? Windows are for one thing and one thing only. They are for fresh air to come in and nothing to go out. So that means if you boys are holding a hat, or a piece of paper, or you girls have long hair, or a toy in your hand, nothing can be held out that window. And why is that? We go down streets, and the buses are pretty big, and once we go down a street, if we become really close to a tree or a sign, there's a chance that you could get hit with it, which is very dangerous and you could be hurt. And we never want that to happen. So we tell you, don't ever put anything out the window, it's just for fresh air to come in. We ask you to make sure you look around to the emergency exits and know that there's many, many, many ways to get out of a school bus in the case of an emergency. These markings in the bus that say emergency exit mean one thing. We all know that emergency means something bad, that something is going to happen, and we know the word exit means to get out. But when these two words are together on a school bus, that's telling you that that exit is only used in the case of an emergency. If the bus is in an accident, these windows will open, these back doors will open, the roofs on the top will open, and we can then get you out of a school bus. We also have an area in the front of the windshields that we can push them out. They crack into little pieces but remain in one big piece, and we can lift you out through there. So there's many ways to get you off of a school bus. Let's talk a little bit about trash. If you have something, if you have a paper the teacher gave you and you don't want to take it home, you don't throw it on the ground on the bus. We don't do that because we have a trash can in front, and we ask you that if you have trash to please bring it up and put it in the trash can. You don't throw trash on the floor at home. You don't throw trash on the floor in your classroom. So we ask you to be considerate and be a good person and put it in the trash can. Do we eat and drink on a school bus? No. If you at the end of a school day, somebody has a birthday in your class and you're leaving and kids hand out a birthday present, which is a sucker or a cupcake, and you get on the bus and you sit down and you start eating that, and that bus stops real quick because somebody in front of them stops, guess what's going to happen to that sucker? It's going to get lodged in your throat, and these seats are so high and you're shorter than the seats, and we're not going to see that happening, and we're not going to get there quick enough to help you. So we tell you, under no circumstances do you ever eat on a school bus. Drinking. If you have a drink and you had, just say you had a chocolate milk for lunch and you only wanted to drink half of it and you put it in your book bag, and you get on the bus that afternoon and you sit down and you put that milk in your mouth and we stop real quick and that milk goes all the way down the front of you and all over the seat. You don't say anything, you get up at your stop and you get off and you go home. We then go to another school and pick up another group of kids and they have to sit in that seat. Is that fair to them to sit in a seat that's sticky? No. So we tell you under no circumstances are you allowed to eat or drink on a school bus. We ask you that when we come upon railroad crossings with trains, we're going to say, the driver will say to you, quiet please, railroad tracks. At that point, you are then silent. We pull up, we set our parking brake, we open our door and our window, and we're going to listen, and we're going to look. And if you're screaming and yelling, we're not going to be able to hear that train coming down the tracks, and that can be very dangerous. So we ask you to remain silent until we're over the railroad tracks. At that point, the bus driver will say thank you, and you can return to talking. Do you talk on a bus? Do you scream on a bus? We tell you you can talk. You can talk at a reasonable level, a level 1. You can talk at an inside voice like you're talking in your classroom. We ask you not to scream on a school bus. If you scream, the driver will not be able to hear, and we're listening to other emergency vehicles. They would be an ambulance. We have to listen to their siren. How about a fire truck? We have to listen to a fire truck coming down the road, or a police car. We have to make this bus quiet enough that we can hear these sirens so that they can get to where they're going to help a person in need. Okay? So, we ask you to stay in your seat once you're seated, and we ask you to remain there. Do not stand up on a bus. That is a no-no. We ask you to keep the aisles clear. When we ask you to sit in your seat, we ask you to stay in your seat area. Because if we stop real quick, you're going to hit the seat in front of you. It's going to scare you a little bit, but it's not going to hurt you. But if you're in the aisle and you're hanging out in the aisle and the bus driver has to stop real quick, you're going to bounce out into the aisle and you're going to bump yourself and you're going to get hurt. So we ask you just to stay in your seat and remain there. We ask you to stay out of the danger zone. We're going to talk about a danger zone. What's a danger zone? We all know that if mom and dad are going down the street in the car and there's a big sign that says danger, stay out, they don't go there. It's not a good place to be. So we ask you to stay out of the danger zone around a school bus. The danger zone is an area around the school bus on the front, in the back, on the left side and the right side of a school bus that you don't want to be. You don't want to be in the danger zone. We know danger means something bad. So we want you to stay out of that area. If you are standing inside that danger zone, which is 10 feet on each side of this school bus, and this bus driver starts to take off and they can't see you, that could be dangerous. So we tell you to stay out of that danger zone and stay away from a school bus unless you are loading or unloading. We ask you to just remain in an area waiting for the school bus that is nowhere near the danger zone. Remember, if you come to school and you have things on your lap and you want to bring them to school, you're allowed to do that, but it must fit on your lap. Remember that you're not allowed to bring any live animals. You're not allowed to bring your fish. You're not allowed to bring anything like that. If you bring an item that is bigger than fits on your lap on a school bus, mom or dad will have to take you to school that day. I just want to say thank you very much for listening to this little bit of bus safety. We do this so that we keep you kids safe. We ask you to go home and talk to your mom and dad. Explain to them what you learned today about bus safety. Explain to them what a danger zone means, okay? We have had many changes due to the pandemic this year and the COVID-19. We ask you that you are vigilant about having your temperature taken in the morning, about wearing a mask and having it on the bus the remainder of your trip, and we ask you to sanitize once you get on your bus every day. So we say in conclusion, thank you very much, have a great day, and go Black Tigers.